I'm a system developer and system development coordinator at BILS. And for last year I've been working on project Mosler, which I will try to present now. So project Mosler is a project that is hosted by BILS. We are working with SNCC and UpMax. UpMax is hosting the storage and cluster. Some backgrounds. In Sweden we have Swedish legislation, we have the Personal Data Act, and all kinds of information that is directly or indirectly referable to a natural person is allowed to constitute personal data. And researchers want to do research on personal data. One kind of data is complete sequence of an individual, and that is personal data. And even if you are kind of not storing the names and the personal ID, it's still the data itself, and maybe enough to identify the individual. And there's a paper about this that you could read. At least in the United States, you have genealogy databases where you could just search for persons, and you can find the surnames of it. According to law, personal data is considered sensitive since it relates to health, and then you need a consent or ethical approval by ethical review board. So, Mosler is a prototype system for sensitive personal data. We are using the Norwegian system that's called TSD 2.0. It's services for sensitive data. We're using their architecture with some tweaks. We try to focus to minimize the risks, trying to implement the right security levels and enforce them with policies. We're going to use information security standards to try to fulfill these policies. And one of the project's goals is to comply with the Data Inspection Board in Sweden. So what we supply for the user is virtual private compute cluster. So we're trying to simulate a normal, regular UpMax Slurm system, but within a private containment in this system. We have two-step file import-export. The only way to access this system is through a graphical desktop. We have a two-factor single sign-on. And we have some support for the customization, since not all projects want to use a Slurm queuing system. So we could support. So we have a trade-off. Our goal is to provide a user-friendly secure system. They don't really match. People want to have everything they're used to, but since we need to focus on security, we're trying our best. One of the rules we have adopted from the Norwegian system is that the PIs for the projects are the only one allowed to export data out of the system. We have no internet connection at all in the projects. We have very strong separation between projects. So each project is on a separate virtual LAN on their own network. All the backups of the data is encrypted. And the hardware is physically separated in locked racks in the BMC basement here. There's a high security level compute room. Yeah, any questions, or do you want a demo first? We try to do it.
the use case that...
I'm zooming out here. How do I...
Återgrundad marknadsåtgärder.
Yeah, something like that.
Can you ask something?
Let's look at this first. So you're logging into a web page and you're using your username and your password and a time-based two-factor key. And when you log in, if you're a member of several projects, you could change your project there and press Get Linux Access or deploy your login node. What's happened is we are using ThinLink as a service. Yeah, first you have to pass the Guardian rooster. It's not my rooster, it's just a generic picture. That's some of the bookmark stuff put there. Yeah, now you're in, you can open a terminal and do whatever you want. You can check your Slurm queue, and you see you have one idle node and one drain node, and then you can just do srun, yeah, whatever, host name for example, and yeah, you will have access to your virtual working node. Yeah, question.
So basically, what can you do with the data? So you have the data there, so if I want to do something with the data, at some point I will have to connect it to tools probably.
Yeah.
How do I do this? Do I have to install the...
We are importing and syncing all the UpMax tools that are relevant. So all the tools that you're used to in UpMax system, when you're doing module avail, it's available here. So if the tool isn't available in UpMax, you could import it yourself and install it in your plugin node or in your shared folder. Yep.
In your definitions, you said complete genomic data of a person is personal data.
Come in.
You said in the definition on the bottom
Yeah.
slide, the complete genome.
Yep.
And how important is the word complete? Because if I sequence the genome on a high sec, it's not going to be complete.
It's a whole genome then.
Whole genome.
Yeah.
I just have to
You can,
add or
maybe
something.
the guys here can clear it out, yeah.
No, I had a question on that. So why only a complete genome, like a whole genome? The next one would still contain probably the same.
Yeah, this is just one example of sensitive data. So.
Yeah, but so
Maybe I'll speak down here.
Would be also the same.
Yep.
About the virtual private cluster,
Yeah.
because I'm working in the TSD too, and what do you mean here by virtual private cluster?
Yeah. Okay. We're using OpenStack for handling all the virtual machines. So each one together is a tenant in OpenStack, and they get a virtual login node and a virtual Slurm queue that handles the Slurm queues, and then you get a virtual working node in your private Slurm queuing system. So in TSD you have a shared cluster. We think it's more secure to have a private cluster.
So you have a real cluster.
We have it's virtual Slurm cluster.
So
We're using virtual working nodes for each project that only are accessible for the projects.
so
project
each
members.
project has its own cluster, which
Yeah.
is based on virtual machine.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And
But is it efficient?
and we are sharing 24 nodes at the moment, and as you saw on the demo, we had only 2 nodes in that cluster. But we are going to implement a script that checks if you add a job in your private Slurm queue. It will check and see, okay, you don't have these resources, we have resources free, and then we put an instance and transfer that instance to your project, and you will get a new Slurm working node that can handle that job.
So you don't run a script of one project into the private cluster of another project, but you instantiate new VMs which
to the project. So it's all contained in separate virtual.
But physically they are all in the same file system. The working nodes.
Yeah, but they have private NFS shares that are only accessible to.
Yeah, we may discuss
That's it.
more about this
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think we have to take